Now, as promised, I've got my old poaching book out again. So we're going to read a story. This one is called Kenzie. This is the name of an old poacher. A time warp moves us from the wild men of the turn of the century to one of the best known poachers who ever lived. The sturdy form of Mackenzie. Kenzie, his nickname. Kenzie Thorpe of Sutton Bridge. He was of Romany stock, and his formidable grandmother magnificently named Leviathan. Could, they said, whip up a sitting pheasant eggs and all into her apron before the bird could squeak. Kenzie started in a way his Victorian ancestors would have recognised as a bird starver, cut with a rusty old muzzleloader. His first, second and third proper guns he stole. They were of a type known loosely as farm guns, kept in barns for shooting rats or pigeons and of not great value. But for Kenzie the price was right, and he used them to start on what turned out to be an illustrious career. Now, there's quite a few stories about him. That's Kenzie. Kenzie of Thorpe, Sutton Bridge, down south. Let's have a look. Here's a little story. Royal poaching. Kenzie's most audacious feat was to poach the royal covers at Sandringham with his friend Horace Savage. They were armed with a 22 rifle and a 410 and driving an Austin 7. The pair were afterwards stopped by Mr. Amos, the King's Keeper, and an underkeeper. There ensued a sort of wrestle for the possession of the gun and cock pheasant which lay under the seat. Kenzie was outnumbered 2-1, and eventually bested, for Horace was no fighting man, and to make matters worse, the trusty car, which till then had removed them in the nick of time from many a potential difficult situation, failed to start, and both were fairly nabbed, caught in the act. The subsequent summons included confiscation of a rifle, £1 for possession of a firearm without a certificate, and £5 for coming from land in pursuit of game, £4 for trespassing, and £1 for opposing a constable, for Amos was a special constable. Yeah, that was a bit of a fine way back then. Now, here's a little bit of advice from Kenzie. He's given a bit of advice here. Kenzie on poaching. Now, he says, you've got to be as cunning as a fox to outwit the keepers, farmers and labourers and anyone who lives inside your poaching area. You have to keep your ears and your eyes open. You must notice any little sight and sound you have never heard or seen before. You've got to know your ground, your ditches, your roadways, which a car can approach at night without its headlights. You've got to know every bush, tree, every haystack. If there's a new object sticking up from a dike or bank, you must investigate it before you start work. If you don't, you will be nervous and this will put you off at night. Don't think of starting until every light has gone out and everything is still. Outwitting a gamekeeper can be very simple if you stick to the rules. You've got to know his whereabouts, his movements, his habits, and the company he keeps. Does he visit pubs? Does he have regular cronies who he visits? If he has, then with a bit of luck, you've got him, for you know where he'll be at all certain times. Stay clear of estates with several keepers, because they can run a dusty roster like the army and keep guard 4 on and 4 off. Keep an eye on the keeper's cottage when you're out at night, and when you're out in the field at night, have a shot here and a shot there with a 410 gun. That way, they'll never catch up with you. Once you're on the job, keep to the fields and the dikes and never cross a road. Never go near a cottage, for no matter if you're walking like a cat, some dog will give you away with his yap, yap, yap. And no matter how successful you've been, never visit the same place 2 nights running. If they know the place has been poached, they'll be watching for you the next night. But they won't catch you if you're working 5 miles away on a different farm. Now, they said the same can be said for a bailiff, you know. You got to know a poacher's every moves, who he visits, his friends and whatever. So it works both ways. But that's a bit of advice from Kenzie on poaching. As I said before, Kenzie, his name is Mackenzie, but his nickname is Kenzie. Kenzie of Thorpe in Sutton Bridge. That's down south in England. A big estate, a big royal estate. So, yeah, that's lovely. That's another couple of bits of paragraphs from the Country Tales of Old Poachers compiled by John Humphreys. So, yeah, a beautiful picture in the back as well. I wonder if that's Kenzie. Old Kenzie. But I hope you enjoyed that little couple of tales there. As I says, I'll read more out to you. Lovely. Next.